guess that means me. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Let's Stay Together talk show. Your host, Reverend Rick McCain, along with my baby, my girl, my boo. Haven't done it in a while. How you doing, baby?
I'm doing.
You doing? My God, I did this great introduction, and you come back all negative, all down, and
I'm just saying.
you know.
I'm doing.
Was that supposed to be your sexy voice? Is that what that was?
No,
I hope not. I hope that wasn't your sexy voice because that one was bad. I'm telling you that was bad. But hey, speaking of bad, it wasn't a bad day today here in the Chicagoland area. If you live in the Chicagoland area, it's from a lot of rain. It didn't rain at all. And so we're happy about that. Hope where you are in the United States or even all over the world, you are excited to, one, be alive, two, know Jesus, one, know Jesus, two, be alive, and have a beautiful and amazing mate like I do that works with me. I'm telling you, I'm gonna pay some sugar tonight, so I'm gonna be nice today because some people think I be mean to her and stuff like that. They be trying to protect us. I'm like, are you kidding me? This spoiled chick over here.
Give me 2 blinks, Brenda. 2. Let us know.
Right, this spoiled chick over here. She ain't going nowhere. They said 2 blinks. Make sure you only do 1. Okay. Cause I mean, we already talking about you on the show before we got here. But hey, everybody, welcome to the Let's Stay Together talk show. What we're going to be doing, again, we've got no guests. We're going to be coming back with our guests in May. Make sure we have some guests on us. I'm going to put some together for May, June, July. Make sure we get some guests coming into the show. We're going to be trying to talk about a lot of heavy topics. I am looking for somebody. If you know somebody out there that is a caregiver who takes care of the elderly, I'm looking for that. Medical health. We're looking for people in the medical health field. And also, I'm looking for someone who is experiencing, their child is experiencing cancer, and they're going through cancer with their child, and they just want to speak about childhood cancer. We're going to be bringing them on to the show, and we want to talk about that. Also, I've got something else I'm going to be starting off soon. It's called No Judgment. I'm trying to get that out there to everybody. It's going to be a show where we probably do late in the night. I got to figure out when am I going to do this. It might be a late night show where we're talking about having people call in and just talk about any issue that they're going through. And get a Christian perspective, but there's going to be no judgment. I mean, absolutely no judgment, because in order to bring people to Christ, you cannot judge them with the word. That's one thing you don't want to do. You don't want to judge them with the word. You want to provide them with the word as something to help them to come to Christ. And so that's what we're going to be trying to do. I don't know if Brenda's going to be on the show with me or not, if she's going to be sometimes with me, sometimes not, but it is going to be a show that I'm going to be putting out there that I want to be able to just have a nice talk with people at night and just share with them on the radio about situations. Thank you, Kenny. Situations that are going through in their lives without any judgment, and they just want a man of God just to help them through it. You may have molested someone. Yeah, I'm talking about those things too. You may have hurt someone. You may have stolen something for someone. Any topic that's out there, homosexuality, we're going to deal with all of it because all of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, and we want to be able to give that person an opportunity to come to Jesus Christ without being judged. Because we do know, I know I'm going to get a couple of people mad at me, but you do know that there's a lot of judgment inside the church. We can judge a lot, so we want to make sure we do that as well. And, babe, you got anything you want to say before we get into the show?
No. I'm just trying to put this on my page, and I cannot for some reason.
I don't think everybody needs to know that, though.
Well,
but, I mean, it's right there. You talking about that?
You
can't find
page.
it? Okay, well, you'll find it somehow. So, while you're doing that, can we go into the Christian Real topic?
Mm-hmm. The topic tonight on Christian Real is negativity, signs that you are too negative.
Right, like can't find your stuff on the thing and telling
everybody. That don't mean that you're negative. That's a fact. I just can't.
Okay. Well, so ladies and gentlemen. And I hope y'all realize.
Blink? Okay, stop
I'm like-
asking me to blink, people.
I'm like, blink would probably mean that something's happening to you. Okay. I hope that you don't take that out of proportion, because people who are going through abuse do that. They blink. They'll give a sign. You're not being abused in anywhere. Matter of fact, you're abusing me. You take from me a lot.
Right.
But talking about negativity, I was thinking about this earlier, and sometimes you talk to people, and you notice all the time that every time they speak about something or every time they bring up something, it has a negative overtone. They're talking about their problems or issues in their lives. And it's difficult for them to see that they're being negative. They believe that what they're doing is just sharing information or talking about information. But as you're listening to them, you can tell that every time that they speak, they sound more negative than positive. And it's troubling to you because you're that individual. You see how I switched that? You're that individual. And you can't see the fact that you are talking negative. And people don't want to be around you, or they don't like talking to you because they know that something's always going to go wrong. My car broke down. I can't get this to work. This is happening. Something happened here. Something happened there. I got late. The bus didn't come on time. The train was late. Everything sounds negative. And we want to talk to that you that doesn't see you. You hear me? The you that doesn't see you, that doesn't understand that you are allowing, I want you to hear this now, Satan to make you step away from the promise of God by focusing on what you think is normal, but it's more negative. And negativity is not something that we have in the Word of God. The Bible says that, ask the Lord, seek and ye shall find, knock and the door shall be open. Everything is a promise to God that if we confess our sins, He's faithful and just. Everything turns into a positive when you're with God. And so as a Christian, and I'm speaking to the Christians here, those who have not accepted Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior, you can do that right now by saying, I accept you, Jesus, as my Lord and Savior, and I live my life according to your will. Amen. You are now a part of the kingdom of God, and you are a Christian. I'm talking to you. How do you step out of that situation? And I found this thing on here, and I'm not going to read all 23 of them, but there were some of these things on here that I really enjoyed, Brenda. And one of them was saying, the only perspective you have is your own. It's a good sign you are too negative if that every comment you hear is mentally run through a filter in which you ask yourself, what does that say about me? Your perspective is only you. You. You gonna talk to me?
Well, that's just one of the many, but yeah, I could see that happening with people. The way you go on with this, we want you to understand that sometimes it's not the person sitting next to you, it is you with the problem. And a lot of people who do speak negative things don't know, like you said, speaking. But this article breaks it down with some simple things that you wouldn't even think that that's something being negative, as well as the two words, always and never.
Yeah.
You say that enough around people, and it's like, or to me, you're never accountable. You're negative. But let's get into it, because there's a lot of good things on here that they talk about.
Okay, well, you
Want
gonna
me
get
to
into it?
start?
Yeah. What do you
Okay.
want to talk about?
You did one of them, the social media thing.
I don't want to go through all of them, so let me just do this.
I did some
You want to do
highlights
that?
of some.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the social media thing, how you're always complaining about what people are posting. They have the right to post to whatever they want on social media. You upset that it looks like they're living such a good life and doing this and putting all their business out there. Okay, that's them. That's not you. Why is your temperature rising? Because they're living their life. We don't know what's really happening. And for someone to continue to say, oh, that's for social media, nobody happy, you don't know that. So stop saying that. So many people say that. Just stop saying it. If they want to post their food out there, that's them. That shouldn't have anything to do with you. You're being negative according to this post. You're being negative about social media and what people are doing on social media. It's not even worth getting stressed out about, especially when they get into discussions on social media and you're complaining about the topic and you want to join in but you don't want to join in. Keep scrolling or get off. So that, to me, that makes sense. That's a lot of negativity. You so concerned, or you telling the person you can't post on my page or this or that, and it's like people gonna do what people gonna do.
I mean, I understand you not want to have it on your page, but the social media issue can be so divisive in a point where you are getting yourself too involved in someone else's lives and not really into your own. And you can't control somebody else's life, like Brenda says. And it's almost like it's a cancel culture where we're trying to be negative about everything that someone's putting out there. And granted, people put some crazy stuff out on social media. I mean, crazy. I mean, the United States in itself probably has more crazy social media sites and posts than anywhere. I mean, even in China, you can't even do most of that stuff because they don't allow it to happen. But the United States, we just go belligerent with it. But again, how does that have to do with anything with you? And the negativity comes in is that you grab a hold to it and you're looking specifically for something to complain about. Not that you're saying, oh, this is a cute picture, but you're looking for something specifically. And hear this. Most of the times, that specific post that you're looking for has to do with the person you dislike the most. And you'll see that out there. Like, I can't believe that girl did that. I can't. And it's like,
I can't believe you're reading.
let it go. Don't allow that to be. That is showing your negativity. And you are allowing that to destroy you, because when we feed negative things into our spirit, then it takes away from the positive or the spiritual blessings of the Lord for us. So social media can be, it's such a wonderful tool if used correctly, but we're not doing that well. And some people will get very involved and engrossed in it to a point where they will allow it to make them very negative. I don't know if you have anything else before number 5. Do you have anything else before number 5?
No, I got this other one. I'm gonna go. You pick fights with your partner, but I'm gonna say friends with that partner. Anybody in a relationship.
Okay, so I'm gonna go to number 5. That's
Oh,
why I asked you.
you asked.
I said, did you have anything before number 5? So number 5, it says the past dictates your future. I can't tell you how many times I've heard people who always speak about their past, as though there's nothing going on in their present or their future. When you have to hold on to that, it shows that there's a sadness or a depression in an individual when they cannot, there's nothing they can talk about positive about their future, that they got to go back to the past. I knew this one person that would always go back and talk about how this is what I was, how I was so good when I played football back in high school and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, but you're 50 to 60 years old. This is all you're going to talk about? Because their life had become negative so much that the only thing they can do was go back to a period of their lives where they were happy. And if they bring up something in the future or the present, it would become negative to them, or they would be complaining about something. So they would always draw back on a time when they were happy. Now, the past, someone going back to their past doesn't necessarily mean that they're depressed or sad and happy. But if it's something that you find out that you're always doing and you never really have anything good to say about your present and your future or future things you're going to be doing, going backwards like that signifies that there's a negative point in your life that you need to discover and resolve, because you're not focusing on moving forward. You just constantly look back in the past. What's your next one you're talking about?
The next one's about picking a fight with your partner.
Oh yeah, that's a good one for you.
No, you know what? I don't
I'm
pick
joking.
fights.
I'm joking.
Okay.
Yeah, you're not telling the truth right there. But
I don't
we
pick
all
fights.
pick fights. We will pick fights with each other. Let's just be honest. Christian Real.
I don't see it as picking a fight.
I know you don't, because that's why the number one says the only perspective you have is your own.
No, but see,
But
I
okay.
can say.
Okay,
See,
go ahead, babe.
that's the tone that picks a fight.
No, but
my thing
okay.
is with people who does that, it could be any little small thing. You didn't close the cabinet. You didn't do this. It's like, oh my God, seriously, we got to go through this today. Or a friend that's negative that will point out something to diminish your light. And it's like, And I noticed that with some people, that when they find themselves always trying to find something negative about you, they're not happy, and it makes you go to the old thing of misery loves company. And of course, the people who does that, it's like, not saying what I just said, I don't pick fights. To me, that's confrontational. I'm not a confrontational person. If something like in a relationship, if I say, oh, well, Rick, can you do this? And with me, we're using this as an example, people. With me, it's always a tone. If a tone changes in the norm of 90% of how we talk, and it's like, okay, this is about to escalate in something. When it comes to friendship, when is, okay, too much attention is going to this person. Let me find something, like I said before, to dim their light. It's like, why are you always trying to pick up? Oh, I'm just saying. No, stop, people. Seriously, in relationships, friendships, just stop. And I know, because we're looking at you to see if you are the negative person. And like you said, most people are going to deny if they are. But the thing is, if it's that serious to you to always be right in your friendships and your relationships, then there's a problem.
Well, let me just say this. This is picking a fight doesn't necessarily mean that because someone comes to you in a negative way or a way that you don't like how they're speaking to you, that they're picking a fight. Picking a fight is someone who tries to cause a problem with something. Someone could come to you and say, why is that always on the ground? That's not picking a fight. That is saying something like, hey, I noticed that this is always on the ground when I come in, or your underwear always on the floor, baby. Why is that there? That's not picking a fight with someone. Picking a fight comes to the point on the response in that scenario. But if that person says to you, I'm sick and tired of you always doing it, you need to get your stuff together, you can't believe, that's picking a fight. So arguments are not necessarily saying that we're picking a fight. An argument is a disagreement between two people. And relationships, you're going to have those. You're not going to be on the same page in every scenario. But it's the, as Brenda will say, how you come to that person, and then it becomes a fight when you're retaliatory. You could come to me the wrong way all the time, and I can just ignore it. Like, okay, whatever. That doesn't mean that I'm picking a fight or you're picking a fight. You're saying something wrong. Picking a fight is someone who who is trying to always come down on you, or someone who's always complaining, you don't do this, you need to get this together, I'm tired of this, blah, blah, blah. That picking a fight, like me picking a fight with Leaf Letter, constantly calling me and I'm not turning them back. I might pick up the phone one time and pick a fight with them because they're being they're agitating me. So good word, agitating. If you're agitating someone, that picks a fight with someone. And then now I get the telephone ringing, and now Google, what is that? Alexa wants to talk. So we're doing that. But I think that's in some cases how that is. Okay, finally this person put the package in the right place. But babe, what you got for the next thing?
Next one is you complain about work constantly. It's always someone else's fault. They don't know what they're doing. Or 9 to 5, this is your business, but you're tired of your coworkers, you're tired of your boss, and it's like, stop complaining. Can you find one good thing about the job in a day? And most people now, we are complaining. It's like, well, these people are getting on my nerves, but what can you do, Rick, when that happens?
Well, complaining at your job, let's just be honest with each other. We all complain at our job. The job can drive you nuts. But it becomes a negative when when someone does it consistently. A consistent complainer about, waking up complaining about that they have to go to the job. Mad about having to go catch the train or the bus. It was late. It came in late. I had to wake up and go to this job, and I'm so tired. They ain't paying me. That negative persona, we're not talking about how it affects other people, but how does it affect you? One of the problems we always have when we look at negativity within ourselves is that it's hard for us to look at ourselves as being negative. We've trained ourselves not to be that way. I look at Judge Judy all the time, and she'll tell them, about rules and stuff like that. And a person will say, well, I don't think that I should have to do that. Well, that's not the law. Well, I don't think that I should. We don't want to admit that maybe there's something wrong that we need to change. And so when you find something, a job is just something to hold on to so you can have something to complain about. It's just the object of your complaint. You have a spirit of wanting to complain about something. So what's the job? You're going to complain about the train being late. You're going to be complaining if the traffic is bad. You're going to complain about if a car was driving too fast on the expressway while you was going. That's going to be something you're always going to be complaining about. So the job is just the object. You need to look at yourself internally and say, would I like that person if it was not me? Which is so hard for us to do, baby, because we never want to do self-examination of how we react toward anything. And I don't know where that was at. What number was that you were talking about? Okay.
Probably 11.
So you kind of picked you went past never and always is your favorite word. Negative people have a habit of seeing the world in an all or nothing terms. When a friend can't make to a brunch, they tell themselves they always fake. And it is something that words like that we will use, never, always, I was just. Certain words people will use all the time can show a negative pattern of how they react. They always, they never hear, I can't believe that this happened again. You'll hear this again. You'll get those little catchphrases or words that the people will say, and it's basically showing that they are grabbing hold to the negative part of the solution. The person didn't make it. Now let's be real. We know that there's some people that hey, you can make an agreement with them you want to, but there's a good chance they're not going to be there. You can set the time at 3:00, but They ain't gonna be there at 3 o'clock. So you know this is that the way that person is. But when you start complaining about it, I can't stand Tanya because she always late. And yet you invite her, then you're bringing the negativity in. This is how that person is. They're always late. I'm a person that's always on time. Punctuality is very important to me. I don't try to be around people that's going to make me always late. But I'm not going to complain about it either. And so, because what happens is when we're negative like that, the person that is affecting is us. And so using those words like always or never or I can't believe or she always do that. Those things can bring on a negative persona that can hurt you and your spirit. Let's see if we can find maybe one more.
The jealousy one. Most negative people, as they say, are jealous people. You got to watch, like you said, you have those key words out there that a negative person will use if they're jealous and stuff. They always have words like belittling people. Oh, that little thing never happy for you. Like if you're the person that get the promotion, it's like, well, it's just, a grade level up, one level up. Okay, you can't be happy for the person. You're just so negative. Or the backhanded compliments that someone give. And then they're wondering, we know a person like this too, right? They're wondering why they don't have a lot of friends, why nobody want to be around, or why people don't invite them to anything. So they will switch it and say, I'm not a people person anyway. I don't like being around a lot of people. I don't need people. Okay, that might be fine, but don't dog them out if that person is a social butterfly going to places and they didn't invite you. So, and then when you have to say, I didn't want to go to that little event. Everything is that little event. Or it wasn't nothing. Why they making a big deal out of that? Everybody got a job. Everybody get promoted. No, they don't. And it's like when you hear stuff like that with jealousy with people, it makes you not really want to be around them.
And what it does is that it shows a spirit of insecurity. There are going to be people that are going to get things that you're not going to get throughout your whole life. Live long enough and you'll see that. There's always reasons why this is happening. Nepotism, racism, throw all kind of isms out there. That's going to happen. But the thing about it is that, the Bible says, we're not supposed to want the things of our neighbors, to desire it to the point that we want to take it or have it ourselves. That brings in a spirit of jealousy that can bring in a spirit of hatred. And it's those things are negative. That's a negativity or it's a negative on your spirit that you don't want. I mean, it's nothing. I'm not saying that you have to be happy because someone gets a promotion, because you may know that person didn't deserve it. I mean, this is Christian, real honest. She got that because she was sleeping with the boss. Okay, what does that got to do with you? If you mad that she got the job, are you gonna sleep with the boss? Nah, I ain't doing that. Well then, okay, well, she got that job by that way. I mean, that you can't sit there and be negative about it. You want something, you want to get a promotion yourself, but you're mad about the process of what happens. Good or bad, I wouldn't necessarily say sleeping with the boss is a good thing to get a promotion. However, it shouldn't be something that controls your spirit to the point where you're negative about it, where you're bent out of shape about it, and it's changing your ability to do your job and take care of yourself. So we have to try to separate from those things, because once we get too close to situations where things that other people do causes us to feel jealous, it will tear down our ability to function correctly and receive blessings from God. All we got to do is go to God and say, hey, God, I'm looking for a promotion too. Help me, find favor that I might be able to be in a position to where I'm able to get a promotion as well. And please don't throw in there, and God, because I don't want to do it the way she did it. That's negativity. And you don't go to God that way. And so we're talking about some things, negativity. Are you too negative? Here's the one thing that I want to leave with real quick, and it was just number one. Number one says the only perspective you have is your own. You have to know that this is you. It's easy for you to point out it in somebody else. This is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about finding the negative things because we can point out good. Yeah, that's Sharon. That's how she is. Yeah, that's Rick. That's how Peter is. It's easy for us to point out others. We're saying do a self-examinatory of who you are and see if you fall into a person that's negative. And be honest. Look at how you talk sometimes and see that. I remember when I was younger, I started realizing, hey, I do have a bad temper. You know, when I was younger and stuff. And I knew that I had friends that were staying away from me and didn't want to play any games with me because they knew if I lost, I'd get a bad temper. And so I had to do a self-examination and say, hey, why am I getting so mad about this? It's just a game. But without that, I would have never changed. I would have just been stubborn, saying, no, if they don't like that, that's too bad. You don't know me. But we do all that kind of stuff. It's good for you, number one. Like they said in the 12-step program, you got to first admit that you're an alcoholic. You have to first admit that you're the person that's being negative and it's hurting you more than anyone else. Because if you don't see it hurting you, you're not going to see it hurting other people. You're just going to think if they can't accept who I am, that's too bad. We got that. We're in that kind of world now. We got to accept everything. But we don't want to accept that may something be wrong with us. Yes. And so look at if you are too negative and find out, just, if you just go to God and say, God, help me to find out if there's something negative into me that I need to move out of me. And focus on that, and God will help you move it out. Hey, we got to go to play some music today. I believe that the song that we're going to be playing today is coming from, and I'm being like Brenda rattling all this paper around, Travis Green, You Waited for Me. We're going to have that song playing. We're going to have a couple of commercials, and we'll be right back. Hey, this is Rick McCain along with my baby, my girl, my boo. Have you on Facebook, YouTube? Stay with us. We got a story we're going to share. And Soar Radio, we'll be right back. I'm not hearing Kenny at all. Okay. I'm like, go ahead.
Okay. I want to talk about this story, which is heartbreaking. Wisconsin man accused of killing 19-year-old dismembered her body to conceal a murder. This man had Maxwell Anderson. He's 33. The young lady name was Sade. They met on a dating app. He's Caucasian. She's African American. He was really too old for her, to me, in my opinion. But anyway, 1933. They go on this date, and she comes up dead. Family reported her missing, and the fact that you killed her, but you dismembered her body, and they identifying the young girl's body and leg parts and her toenail polish, or what she had on. Somebody must have seen her before she went out. But the thing that gets me with this babe is that, okay, this happened on April 1st. This was their date. What is it, unless you just was a murderer, you just didn't want to be bothered with, okay, I don't like this little black girl. The thing I just don't get is 2-something in the morning, well, maybe the phone was there. You go to this man's house. Your first date. You don't go, you meet in a public place, you get yourself there. Long out of days back then on first dates and stuff, that the man come to the house and pick you up. You drive yourself, but you could have a getaway. But apparently this man lost his little mind. And now they saying the blood that was found in his apartment doesn't match hers. Which is crazy itself. That means somebody else was up in the dead. Go ahead.
Go ahead and what? What are you saying?
Join in this conversation.
Okay.
What are your thoughts about this Wisconsin man accused of killing?
Okay. I hear these stories and it really saddens my heart. I just don't understand the mentality of someone who wants to kill. How you go about deciding that you want to end someone's life. I mean, the the sinister power that rises into the spirit of man that feels that they want to kill someone at will. Now, we live in a very violent society, and war has been a part of this society. Go back into the biblical days, because people did not want to follow in the word of the Lord, and the Lord has said, they need to be destroyed. Now God can make that decision because He's the Creator. But for us to take the part of being the Creator and deciding that I'm going to destroy this life and have no sadness or no trouble about it all, but yet feel excited and happy to the point you want to do it again, blows me away that there are people out there. But it lets you know how powerful Satan is in this world, that he can make things that are sinful seem satisfying,
enjoyable for some, yeah.
And I don't really know what to say about this story. I mean, this man dismembered the girl's body
And then set her car on fire trying to hide the murder that he committed. It's like, but of course he's denying it, but because technology works so well, they tracking their conversations, the text messages when they was going to meet. So she met up with you. You're the last person that probably seen her alive, but you're denying this stuff. And it's like something just ain't adding up. Like I said, when they said they found blood that didn't belong to her inside of his residence, and it's like, okay, well, who blood is that? But the thing that get me, even if the date went left and she was like, okay, maybe I got catfish, this ain't working for me, you take the time, kidnap her, and get what is that, a saw and saw for body parts? I mean, that's just like, you just driving around with a saw or whatever. I don't know. It's just crazy.
I mean, huh? It's not unusual that someone may have some kind of a saw or a knife or something in their car. Because depends on if they do carpentry work and stuff like that. That could be in a car. It's not unusual for that to happen, but it's unusual for it to be used for that intent. We got about 15 seconds before we get back on the air. For those on SOAR Radio, we're coming right back. All right, everybody, welcome back to SOAR Radio, two-time Stellar Award winner for Best Internet Station of the Year. This is Reverend Rick and Brenda on there. My First Lady Brenda, on the air with me right now, talking about something. We're sharing a story on Facebook that is very traumatic and sad. I'm going to have Brenda share contact them at soarradio.com. That is soarradio.com. You can get your show and get your wife on there, or your girlfriend, or two guys, y'all talking, some ladies, you want to talk about spiritual things. We can have a spiritual conversation about the sisters and the men. Where are the men? Sisters, where are the men? That's going to be your show. And y'all going to be talking about where are the Christian men at, and why they ain't approaching you. It's gonna be sister talk. There you go, right there. I gave you a show right there, sister talk. You could do it on Wednesdays from if you all work at night, you do it a 2 p.m. to 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. sister talk on SOAR Radio, and you can have your own show right there, or you can just call it Ife Design Show. You can do whatever you want to. But you want to come on the two-time Stellar Award winning net station of the year, SOAR Radio, if you're looking for doing that show. contact them at soar@soarradio.com. Babe, we were talking about some a topic, and it's sad to me, and I just want to share it a little bit with people because we live in a diabolical world. We know that God is in control, but we live in a diabolical world, and this story kind of troubles me a little bit. I'm gonna let you share just a brief part of this story.
Okay, Wisconsin man. His name was Maxwell Anderson, Caucasian man, 33. Killed a 19-year-old African American young lady by the name of Sade Robinson. Like I said, 19. They had met on a dating app, went out on a first date on April the 1st. He apparently something went down that he didn't like. He dismembered her body and concealed the murder by burning up her car.
Yeah, and this is in Wisconsin, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was telling Brenda we was on Facebook and YouTube, and for those of you on YouTube, you heard the story before. We apologize going over again, but we want our Soar Radio guests to hear this as well. That I don't understand the diabolical, sinister thought process of someone wanting to end someone's life, and the joy or the spiritual wickedness that goes into a mind that decides that not only are they going to end that person's life, but they're going to dismember the body. That is something that really troubles me when I hear something like that. And trying to grab this little cord, but I can't find. But it's just a terrible thing to hear that someone would want to do something like that. And I don't know. I don't really know what to say about that other than, you know what troubles me, and I'm going to share this. This is the part that troubles me, and I did this one time, and I said it before. I asked the Lord, just let me feel a little bit of what you feel, and I thought that was the worst thing I've ever done in my life. It has been almost like more of a curse than a blessing. And I say that, in a way that little grain of salt feeling that God feels or sees in this world just tears me apart. And in my mind, I feel that young lady at that instance. And it troubles me so much that you're at a point of your life where someone is about to try to end it. And it troubles me in my spirit so much. It grieves me so much thinking about that. I don't even know who she is. I don't know what she looks like, but I just see myself being there. And this young lady's realizing that this is going to be the end of my life. And having that person there with the sinister joy of being like he's the creator, destroying someone's life, and having so much joy doing that he continues to dismember the body. Do we not know that we need the prayers of Christians more now than ever? And that we need to really go through spiritual warfare, prayer for this world that we live in? Because if we have people like this in the world, we need to be on the war path, breaking down that spiritual wickednesses in high places. And it just troubles me when I hear that. I don't know how to react other than just I'm grieved in the spirit that somehow or another Satan has reached the minds of a mind that was meant to do good, that God brought in this world for goodness, and somehow or another been perverted to do sin.
Yeah, this was a sad story. She was, saw a picture of her. She was a beautiful African American young lady. And it's like, I was looking at the pictures of him. It's like, how? I really believe she must have got catfished or something, because it's just no way. That just didn't seem like a match. And not because of the age difference or the race. It's just sad that went down like that.
I mean, but there's no reason to bring up how he looks or anything like that. I mean, we don't know what people like. But the fact of the matter is not how he looked, what she looked. It's what he did. you did something like that that's just horrific, and
I
it's
mean, it's nothing new, but
no,
it's
it's not,
sad.
but it's not anything new. I mean, you can go we can go into biblical days and see that. But my thing is, um, it's just sad. It's sad. Um, what
Where
else?
do you want to go?
Lord have mercy. Let's go. We were talking about what were we talking about earlier that I said we was going to bring up on the show.
Men or women, something.
Kenny, we were talking. Oh, we talking about lying on, cheating, and stuff like. We were talking a little bit about, and I'm going to answer this question for this friend of mine on the email here. But we were talking about people staying with someone that they know that's no good, and I kind of joked on it, and I was talking about long as I got Brenda Faye, I don't need nobody else. She didn't lied on me, cheated, talked about, mistreated, and none of these things that Brenda's done. She may have talked about me, but she hadn't lied on me and cheated on me. But how we get so engrossed in a person's life that we will accept anything. And it's funny because we saw a very excellent show play yesterday called Jump. We'll talk about that later. And one of the things the girl had said is that her boyfriend had hit her on the third date, and she was still with him. And so, Brent, what is it about females that seems to gravitate so much to a man that they will accept him doing anything because they feel that they love him, they love them?
Because women are nurturers, we usually think that, okay, if they stick around long enough, I could change them. I could mold him into what I want him to be, especially if you got an ounce of love for him and you realize, I know he don't, I got a checklist of 5 things, he only hitting 2, but if we stay together, I could work with him. Men don't think that way. We see a lot in a man. Like, you guys are physical and they could treat you like lie, don't cheat you. As long as she got something you physically attracted to, a little ounce of, okay, I could deal with this tolerance, you keep her. A woman, because we have, not that you guys don't have a loving nature, a woman have that nourishing nature that just always figure, I am the helpmate. I can help. But he done done you wrong. He done did this. He done did that. But you know what? People change, and I just want them to know that I could be with them. And it's hurtful to see someone going through that. It's hurtful to that individual when she knows she deserves better. But it's sometimes women feel like, hey, I might let this go and get into something worse. I might let this go and not ever get back in a relationship. I want to be in a relationship at any cost.
Yeah, and one of the things I also notice it with women, I'm going to talk about a little bit with men, but if they do get out of that relationship, sometimes they will get back into another relationship that's similar to that. But what I've noticed when I've done counseling is it's like almost like it's hereditary. They saw abuse when they were growing up, and so it becomes acceptable to them. Or if they don't even see it, you're like they're nurturers. But it's like, if I'm a nurturer, why would I allow myself to nurture someone more than I do myself? Why would I say I'm a nurturer and I will be there for him, but I don't mind him not nurturing me, but hitting me or beating me, and that still allows me to have a nurturing spirit for him?
Okay, let's be clear on that. A woman, she might allow it, she doesn't like it, but some women do have low self-esteem, don't think they could do better, and they accept the abuse from that individual. They accept the lying, the cheating, the hanging out, the infidelity, or if they married, the adultery. They accept it because they want that little piece or ounce of love that they thought they had from the beginning. They want to see that manifest back into the relationship. And when that doesn't, they become complacent and just accept anything that person would give them. And they shouldn't, but they do. And I've seen this happen in so many relationships. It's like, okay, I know it's easily said than done, but thank God I have not been in a situation like that. And by no means I'm saying my marriage is perfect, but that's not my lane that I'm driving in, is what I'm saying. But for the people who are in that particular lane, it's like, okay, you do not see that this person is abusing you. Might not be hitting you, but verbally, mentally, emotionally abusing you, financially, and you will stay in that just because you want a piece of, is what I'm saying. You would deal with the PIECE instead of the PEACE because you don't want to be alone. And that saying is, I could do bad all by myself. Sometimes I want to say, be all by yourself, because people in relationships that I know does want to get back out there to date. But it's like, okay, like you said, it's a pattern. They go to the same bad boy, or they're the same with their pattern, going out doing the same thing. So nothing's going to change. Except in a relationship, you have to be the one to make the change, because that person's not going to change. They see you as, I could do this and get away with it. They ain't gonna do nothing. They're gonna keep accepting me. Or I could do this and just come over to the house and give her some flowers or throw it down or do whatever and be gone for 3 months. They always open the door with welcome arms. That's not what we're supposed to do, ladies.
Well, I mean, you said, let's be clear. I mean, I never said anything about them liking it. So
No, I was just saying that.
So let's be clear on your let's be clear that I'm not saying that. But a man will allow certain things. Now, you don't hear about it as much, but there are situations where men are in abusive relationship with women. It's not, it's not talked about a lot because, you don't, your manhood is all involved. But there are abusive relationships where a woman is abusive to them. It doesn't necessarily have to be physically abusive. They could be mentally abusive and emotionally abusive as well. And that man will stay in that scenario because he himself has a low self-esteem and an issue with being able to provide for himself. And so now this woman is providing and allowing him to live. He will do that. And you also have some men who don't really care about that because all they doing is living off of that woman. But the biggest part of it is typically sometimes the abuse part, the physical abuse, is typically the man to the woman. You'll hear the mental and the emotional abuse that a woman will do to a man if she's in a situation where she's making more, she's providing something, and she say, Rick, you ain't. I don't even know why I'm staying with Rick. You ain't nothing. You ain't no good. And that's in front of other people. And, it's like, that mental abuse like that, and mental or emotional abuse like that will be taken from that individual because they know that, hey, I may not be able to find anybody else that's going to provide for me like that. She's getting things for me, but, I'm not on my feet right now. But the difference about it is that if that man gets on his feet, he gone. That woman has gotten emotionally attached to that man to the point where she has fell in love with him. He ain't fell in love with how she's treating him. I mean, he likes that he's getting all these things, but he ain't fell in love with her. If he gets on the thing, is hit the road, Jack. He gone. The unfortunate thing about the nurturing of the woman is that he can lie on her, cheat, talk about, mistreat, abuse, scorn, talked about sure as a bone, and she will still say, as long as I got King Jesus. But you need a king in the house, a king that's going to treat you like Jesus said. That the man's supposed to love his wife as God loves the church. And so you can't be in a situation where you're allowing someone to abuse you and lessen the value of who you are. And I said I was going to say this one time, and I didn't get a chance to say it times because people were talking about, God and creating miracles. It was just a miracle situation, and they were like, God create miracles. The Creator never creates a miracle. The Creator never creates a miracle. He creates. It's a miracle to us. It's not a miracle to him. God keeps creating miracles. No, God keeps creating. It's not a miracle to him because he can do. It's a miracle to us because something happened that we didn't think, oh my goodness, I was going to lose my house. And all of a sudden God brought some. This is a miracle. No, it's not. It's not a miracle to him. So we got to understand that what God does, he creates. He creates situations for us. The problem is you're looking for a miracle change in someone that cannot create a miracle. He's not able to do that. He's just going to be there that is going to absorb from you, take from you. And you have a nurturing spirit thinking that somehow or another that nurturing spirit is going to create a good person. And what happens a lot of times is that, you've heard it before. They talk about, Christians will, sometimes you Christians is associated with weakness because we will accept more things, unless you're Peter or something. 'Cause I'm not an accepting kind of person. You ain't going to do no stuff like that to me. I don't, I can walk away from you, wipe the dust off of my feet. But I'm not going to accept all these wrong things happen. That nurturing part is almost as though you're trying to create a miracle, that you're trying to create something that you don't have the ability to do. And when I say that God doesn't create miracles, and I hear the people, he don't know what he's talking about. He doesn't have to create a miracle. He's the creator. Everything he does is a miracle to us. But it's just God doing what God does. He created us, which was a miracle to us. But we've got to understand that you can't be God in that relationship. You can't create a better man. You can pray for a better man, but you can't change him by allowing him to beat you. That's not going to change him. That's not going to move him. I don't know who I'm talking to. Somebody's going to be listening to this. It's not going to move that man. The miracle you need to create is a miracle of self-examination and self-glorification, seeing you as someone special that don't need to be in this situation. I'm not going to let him physically, mentally, emotionally destroy who God created. Because you're the miracle. You can't let mess change the miracle.
And in the case of that, with the women, we don't, I'm not saying me, but majority of women do not see that. They would be ran down into the ground trying to hold on to a piece of man. And when that man say, you know what, I'm tired of this, he gone to his next conquest. Or if you're single and you invested, look like it's a bank. I done invested 10 years with him. We was separated for like 1 year. Now he married. He never was going to marry you. It's something with what women have to understand. And I know some people say, hey, I don't never have to be married. I like this arrangement we have. You know what? The saying, what's his name used to say, I pity the fool. I do pity the fool of a woman who will accept that longevity of just having that person just mess up your life because you holding out waiting for this person to do good, to do right. And God probably got somebody out there waiting for you. And you're stuck in this, oh, he gonna change. It's been 10 years. It's not gonna change. But when y'all finally, separate, he done moved on, started a family, got a woman and married. And it's like, why wouldn't he marry me? Like you just said, Really, if you're looking for a miracle, look within yourself. Ask God, show me within my own soul what am I not doing right? Or what am I doing that I need to stop doing, even though it might be right in the eyes of the Lord to be faithful and to be a good, let's just say, wife with this case. But women, we need to wake up. I know men do get abused too, but it's like 90% women get the verbal, mental, physical abuse, and it's like you deserve more. You deserve so much more than what that person is giving you.
I'm looking up something right now in abusive relationships because I think the last time I looked at this, it's kind of went up now. But they're saying 1 out of 7 men, 13.9%, and 1 out of 4 women, 27%, are the victim of domestic abuse. So 1 out of 4, 1 out of 7. So it's almost like 2 times as much. And I don't know what the statistic is grabbing to. Is it just grabbing on a man and woman relationship or a man and man relationship? Because I don't internet nowadays. I don't know. So maybe I need to look at a man being abused by a woman because I don't know. I don't believe it's at 13%. It could be with the United States with that. I've never. That's kind of high to me, but I don't know if it's talking about a man and man relationship where a man is abused or not. But it's sad that you could have that. But ladies, for everybody who's out there, we're going to go into some music in a few seconds. You need to understand that your life is precious. You cannot love somebody more than you love yourself.
Amen.
You got to care. I mean, you could equally love them. And I love Brenda a lot. I give Brenda a lot of stuff. I spoil Brenda to death. And it would seem as though I love Brenda more than I do me because I'll do more for her. But that is not true. There ain't no way I love her more than I love me. Because if Brenda step out, then that's over. Because I'm going to love me more than the only person I love more than me is Jesus. But I will spoil Brenda to death. She'll get the last peanut in the peanut butter before I will. I'll make sure she has everything that she needs. That's why I always tell people, you sell me in the Brenda. I'm like, are you kidding me? This girl is spoiled to death. But I don't love her more than I love me. And so that's the issue. You can't do that. That man should not be loved more than yourself to the point where he can lessen who you are. You are God's chosen queen. He created you from his own image. Out of the image of man, he came from you. You came. He took man, the rib of a man, and made this beautiful, wonderful specimen that men would fall in love with. You don't need to be abused. You need to be beloved. And so remember that as we go on. We're gonna talk about we got another thing we talk about. I think it says on here keeping the flame alive, but I kind of changed that.
We've been married too long.
Okay, so as I'm going to say, since I'm the one that comes up with these things, I put down here keeping the flame alive, but we're going to be talking about something that Brenda brought up in a play to just make me feel like she didn't love me no more. We're going to talk about have you been married too long? We're going to talk about that. It's keeping the flame alive. It falls within the premise of keeping the flame alive. That's what I was going to say. But we're going to listen to some music right now from Todd Delaney, Your Great Name, and then we're going to have a couple of songs for those on Facebook and YouTube. Stay with us. We got another topic we're going to talk about. It's just as powerful, and we'll share that right now for Soar Radio. Listen up, and we'll be right back. Go ahead. Okay. Yes, babe.
This next story is another heartbreaking one about how the world is operating now. Man kills wife, 3 kids, and murder-suicide mass shooting. 4th child survives unharmed. The man had an altercation with his wife. His name is Jonathan Candy, who's 42, and Lindsay Candy is 39. Don't know what the altercation was, but we know how it ended. He killed his sons. But you know what? They said he shot and killed three of their children: 18-year-old Dylan, 14-year-old Ethan, and 12-year-old Lucas. The other child that was 10 years old was not hurt and was deemed asleep while all of this was going on. But for some reason, babe, I'm like, were those other three kids his children? Is what I'm thinking. Because at first they thought, well, was this going to be a murder suicide thing? But it's not panning out that way. So I'm wondering if the youngest child was his child that he chose not to kill.
That possibly the case. And this is another one of those sad situations where somebody's deciding they're going to kill someone. If I wasn't listening to the whole story now, I apologize because I was looking at something else here. Was this some kind of a marital issue that they were having or
They
something?
didn't tell you what the altercation was.
I didn't think I hear that, but it's sad. I mean, it's sad. Killing is grievous within itself, but and now you're gonna kill the child, and we can debate that in a lot of cases because you have the abortion thing that's going on, and people are talking about that, and abortion rights, and that's like killing a child and stuff like that. But we're talking about here a child that is alive, who's innocent, who has nothing to do with the situation of what this man is going through. Yet he decides that he wants to kill this child. It was just one child you're saying that he killed?
No, three.
Oh, he killed three, but one he left alive, and you're saying that's possibly that might have been his own.
child.
Now, is he still alive?
You know what? This is the thing with this particular article. It does not say.
Yeah. A lot of times when people do that, they're and this is going to sound terrible, but they're cowards. They're not going to kill themselves. I mean, it's easy to take somebody else's life. It's very hard to take your own. I mean, people, I'm going to kill myself. I was trying, I missed, okay. It's sad when certain things like this happen, but I'm going to go back to again. It's like, the Bible talks about so many things about how the fervent prayer of the righteous prevaileth much. We need to really get back. I'm gonna say this, even as a preacher, I'll say this, and I know when I was younger, I used to didn't like fast and praying and stuff. We're gonna have a 50-day fast. I mean, that's a long time. Now I've actually fasted for 6 months for a prayer, for something I was praying to God, and the answer, I didn't get the answer I wanted, and that stopped. I'm like, okay, this is the answer. It wasn't what I was looking for, but I had fasted for 6 months. Now, that's a long time for fasting. But I didn't say I didn't eat anything, but there was things I just cut out of my life. I would eat I was fasting from like 6 to 6. What I'm trying to say is that sometimes when we have these fasts, we're like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do. But I think there's something that we need to start looking at again, is that we know, if you know anything about the Bible, we know that this world is eventually going to be wicked. It's going to turn into its wicked ways. But we have the power of prayer that we can, change the perspective, of how things happen. Have the anointing. I pray every time that, there's an anointing angel that, that covers Brenda when she's not with me, that covers my house. And I think we need to get back into that covering process of covering our family, covering our loved ones. And so even if something happens within our family, there's a covering there that evil will not be able to prevail, and we had to start speaking it to an existence. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. We know that these weapons are formed. This man decides that he wants to kill his kids. Did he kill his wife too? Mm-hmm. Kids, wife, just to get rid of them. But our prayer, our fervent, effectual prayer of the righteous, our prayer over our families, over our loved ones, over where we go, over where we're at, praying that when I go to the train, I get off of the train. Our prayers is a protecting force that allows us to be always anointed and protected by God. We need to get back to that. Not saying it's sackcloth and ashes, but a fervent prayer that we're always praying that our loved ones are protected so that when something happens, God moves them out the way, or it happens 5 minutes afterward. We need to really get in that prayer.
Yeah.
So we got about 20 seconds before we get back on the air with those on SOAR Radio. Maybe another story I have Brenda share for a real quick second, and then we're gonna go on with that. We're gonna stop doing that too, because if you ain't listening to it on Facebook, you shouldn't be hearing these stories. But all right, everybody, welcome back. SOAR Radio participants, listen to SOAR Radio, 2-time Stellar Award winning for Best Internet Station of the Year. We hope you enjoy that music from Todd Delaney. Your great name. You remember that saying, your great name. Wonderful song that he does. Very powerful and anointed brother. Both of these brothers that we had on there, Travis Green and Todd Delaney. And if you ever been to the SOAR Awards, you've heard them singing, and Todd Delaney just goes off. I mean, him and Jacqueline Carr will give you a concert. Okay, give them the mic, and there's a concert coming. You're gonna get a 5, 10, 15-minute concert somehow, from what they're doing, and it's always a blessing. I don't know if they get a chance to see that on SOAR Radio because they had to have that. But when you go there, you get that little extra that you may not see on the program. Kenny, what is the SOAR Award thing coming on for 2024? It's going to be in June. So SOAR 2024 is going to be coming up in June. You'll get a chance to see that. But it's nothing like being there. I mean, because you get some tidbits and things that you may not see on the air, but you need to get to Rockford and check it out. Hey, we were talking about this topic. I'm not going to keep sharing these things that we do on the radio for SOAR, for YouTube and Facebook, because they're hearing again. But this situation is kind of bad. This is another situation where I was saying we need to start, going into a fervent prayer for our families, because this story here is very traumatic and sad. Can you share a little bit of that, Bryn?
Okay, we're in Oklahoma now. This story is of a man who kills his wife, Jonathan Candy, 42, kills his wife, 39-year-old Lindsay Candy, and their 3 children, ages 18, 14, and 12, with one lone survivor, their youngest son, who was 10 years old and not hurt. Reading this, it says that he hunted them down in the house. So that's the scary part. But the little boy was the one who called Monday morning, I guess when he woke up, called 911 and told them it appears that everyone in the house is dead. So it's like he did not hear anything going on. Was he in a deep sleep? He hid? I don't know. But this is an odd and sad situation that a husband and wife get into an altercation, and he decides, I'm going to kill them all. And according to this, with the little boy saying everyone appears to be dead, I guess the father killed himself.
Well, or he wasn't there. Now, how old was the boy again?
10.
I mean,
to have that trauma, oh my gosh.
Yeah, it is kind of scary that that's something that happens. I'm trying to think back again at me being 10. And did I really even understand what death was? Just the understanding of what that meant. For this 10-year-old, not only to understand it, but see it to a point where he understands that it appears that they're dead. Society has changed so much here where we didn't see those things when we were young. I'm like, what is all this noise in here? We didn't see that when we didn't see that. We didn't witness that. We didn't learn about that. I mean, TV was, off at a certain period of time. About, 2 o'clock, TV was gone. They had wholesome little shows on there, what they thought was wholesome. We didn't know this, but to have a 10-year-old know this and see this, how traumatic that must have been. Oh, I know what that is. That's my ring thing being. I'm like, where's that noise coming from? It's kind of sad, Brand, because I hear this, and for him to be alive now, again, you said it appears everybody's been dead. We don't know if the father killed himself because the article doesn't say that. But what we do know is that the boy, the people that he saw there, the mother and the 3 other brothers, he was able to surmise that they were no longer alive, and then called the police to let them know. And so, those things like that just trouble me so much when I hear that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I can't fathom being 10 years old and watching my whole family being massacred, even if he's dead, the father dead there, or not. It's just, okay, what happened? Why? That's a lot of trauma for a child to grow up in that situation. It's like, oh God. But just have to keep them, in prayer. Even the family of Sade Robinson, with the other story we was talking about in Wisconsin, keep her family in prayer, because this girl just seemed so naive at 19, But a lot of kids, I was just shocked, thinking, you're on a dating app at 19? You're young, you go out and meet people, but I guess the world is so different.
Things have changed now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the place where you meet at. And
prayer need to go all across the United States with stuff, because I don't care what race you are, we are going through a lot.
And also, I was looking at this thing with the situation of Columbia University being rocked by intense protests. There's a lot of violence happening right now against Jewish people, Jewish and Palestinian people, and we're praying for a reconciliation of that. The only thing I have an issue is that we're protesting over here because we want Israel to stop bombing or attacking people in Palestine after Palestinians have attacked at them, which is all well and fine, but we're protesting over here and making it seem like our president can go over there and tell them what to do. This is another country. I don't care who the president is, Biden, Trump, Obama. This is another country. So, I mean, there's only a little we can do. Now, they want us to stop, supporting them, but they're part of NATO. And so they're going to support NATO allies. I'm saying it wrong. Is it ALLIES? Allies?
Aliens?
Allies?
Allies.
I don't want us both to be saying it wrong on the thing, but they're going to support NATO people who are in part of NATO, and that I don't understand how we get upset with our government saying we want them to stop doing that over there now, and think that the gall that that we have the authority to tell them not to do that. They want the U.S. to stop funding them. Yeah, that is so true. They want the U.S. to stop forming them. My Rockford Goat has given me the information on that, and they do, but that's not going to happen because they're a part of NATO. Now they can, but the NATO agreement is to always be there to provide for those who are in, traumatic situations. It could be a hunger situation they're going to still provide for. This happens to be war, and so if you're a part of NATO, that is an agreement that they have that if someone goes into war, they will support them. Now, they're supporting Ukraine, and they was not part of NATO, but they wanted to stop. They were worried about Russia going to Poland, which is a part of NATO, and so they were concerned about the advancement. So they wanted to help Ukraine, and now they're bringing Ukraine into NATO so they can have the same, protection. It's just a group of people deciding to come together and say, if somebody goes against you, we'll be there for you. And that's the NATO agreement that they have. And so you may not like that, but it's an agreement that we made. Now, they can easily say, hey, we're not going to support you, but it goes against the NATO agreement. And as strong as the United States is, if they're getting attacked somewhere and Israel is closer to that location, they can fly their planes there to Israel to attack that place that's attacking them. So it benefits them in the future to be able to support someone who's a part of that. And so, but we're praying for, historical lesson I give you. We're praying for there's a resolution between Palestinians and Jewish nations, because we don't want this war to continue on, because it is really, if you saw any of this, the killing of it, the killing that Palestinians did was senseless, and right now some of the killing that they're doing in Israel against Palestinians is senseless too. I mean, you're talking about dismemberment. It's a sad thing. So we've got to be in prayer. I understand peaceful protests, but that protest should be in prayer, not just shouting out and hollering. We demand this, we demand that. Go in prayer. Go to God for resolutions, and not think that man is going to do everything. I want to talk about something lighthearted, a little bit here, because my baby let the world know yesterday that she been around me too long. She got tired of her husband because we was about to take some pictures, and the young lady, we got like theater daughters there. She has theater sons. I only have theater daughters. She has daughters and sons. I have theater daughters. And one of my theater daughters said, "You want to be, next to, to Rick? Girl, I'm tired. I don't need to be around him." I'm like, "Wow, you don't need to be around me." I'm like, "Why did that even come out your mouth?" So, I'm like, "What, you trying?" And I was joking. And I said, "What is it? Your 30 years is too long? You need a divorce?" And she didn't say anything about it, because she Hollywood there and everywhere and stuff like that. She walks around, Brenda. She Hollywood now. They know me, they know I'm the writer, but she Hollywood. I mean, she walk in. She got people from the Chi that know her, that come up to her like, "Hey, girl." I don't even get any recognition. Okay, so she Hollywood. So Hollywood want to sit there and tell me I'm tired of him.
Say that.
So she said, God don't need to be around him. So that I'm like, okay. It made me think, what happens if you feel that you've been married too long? And let's be honest. I'm not saying that too long that you're going to get divorced or stuff like that. But a lot of times when a marriage has been as longevity, we get too comfortable with each other that we're not providing the same kind of love and attention that we do to others. Now, Brenda doesn't have this list, and I was kind of laughing about something because I put down there signs of being married too long is affecting you. Now, I put down TOO and got one thing. Then I put down TO, and it gave me a totally different ones here. So this one starts with communication, stop arguing, lack of contact. This one says communication, feels crazy, motions of divorce. And like, I don't know how an O can make things change so much here, but I'm gonna go to this. And one thing I was gonna bring up real quick, Brendan. You're gonna have to follow me because I got the list over here. It says you stop arguing, and I think that some people don't understand that. But we're going to have disagreements in our relationships. And sometimes when we've been around each other for too long, when we stop arguing, and it says here, you stop arguing anymore, roughly translates to two of you not being willing to work through things anymore. It basically means you avoid them. You don't want to be bothered with them. You know you'll push it off. You will say that you're being non-confrontational, but there are certain things. Yeah, you will.
Now I'm gonna tell you from a woman's perspective.
Oh God, here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
It has nothing to do with a woman's perspective, Brenda. It's just this is just general thing. But let me hear your woman's perspective.
Yeah, it does. When you stop arguing and you just showing that person, I don't even care no more. It's not even worth it no more because we're arguing too much of nothing. When a woman, as they say, made a song, is fed up, it's what she's lacking to her spouse that they need to pay attention to. Because when you willing to go that bout and that fight with that person to argue, not saying that we fist fighting that way, but it's like you get that person, we going toe to toe, arguing about this and that, instead of what it could be two things. A person shut down, don't argue because the other person is controlling. I don't want to upset them. I don't want another argument. Or the person just like, you know what, it ain't even worth my time. And half the time, women do be thinking, the ones that wasn't the women we was talking about earlier, they like, you on a time limit and don't even know it. Like I said, I don't know, was it R. Kelly that made the song? When a woman fed up and don't say nothing, she gone already. Not physically yet, but she's gone.
I'm glad you decided to share the spiritual words of R. Kelly. Let me just say this. This woman-man perspective stuff, we put this in categories that we should not be in. When anyone doesn't want to have an argument about something, it shows that they have a lack of desire to be in the relationship. Not a man perspective, not a woman's perspective. That's a woman's decision and a man's decision. But the general thing is that this is saying, so we're not trying to split it between man and a woman. The general thing is that when a person, we're going to have disagreements or arguments with each other. But if we don't try to resolve them and we just avoid them, it says that both parties, even the man or the woman, has given up on trying and doesn't want to invest time in the relationship anymore. Okay, let me give you the counselor perspective, not the woman's perspective, not the man's perspective. This is a counselor perspective. When you're not arguing, because you think most of the time, well, you shouldn't argue in a relationship. You know, we said don't go to bed in arguments. It's letting you know that there's going to be certain things you're going to disagree with. And if you just say, I don't want to be bothered with this anymore, it's a telltale sign that that relationship is faltering. And we're talking about in a long-term relationship, like somebody like me and Brenda have been together for 30 years. If you're starting to notice that that person is being non-confident, they don't want to be bothered with it, whatever, then that gives you the idea that relationship may have been you've decided to take this relationship and say, I've been in this too long, I don't want to be bothered. But you need to make sure that you resolve issues because you don't want them to fester. So stopping argument in this scenario is basically mean I'm giving up. I don't want to be bothered anymore. You know, he's not right. He's not right. What he's doing wrong. That's what it means in this scenario for here. So communication. We know that sometimes people don't communicate with each other that much anymore. You've been in a relationship a long time and you got your TV program, she got her TV program, you got what you're doing, you know, she's got what he got what he's doing. Y'all go out somewhere, you talking to your people, he talking to his. It sets up a pattern of you all have taken that relationship for granted so much that you're not spending enough quality time communicating with each other. Do you have a perspective of that? That's just not man or woman?
That was on point. Go to the next one.
Okay. Thank you. Conflicting expectations. I'm going to read this. As each person brings their own sets of ideas about what the relationship means and what they hope to get out of it. So, I mean, if you have conflicting expectations, you're eventually going to be talking about it. You're going to be communicating about it, and it may come up to an argument. But conflicting means that you have not taken the time to try to resolve them. And so what happens a lot of times when you think, you've been in a relationship too long is that you've agreed to disagree. I love that. I love when people, we're just going to agree to disagree. I mean, you can do that, but you do know that if you agree to disagree too much, there's going to be too much disagreement that you're not agreeing about. And you're not taking too time. You're just going to say, we'll just agree to disagree. And we're not taking any time. We're not communicating with each other. And what happened, let me just say, some of you all was in the same scenario before you got married, that you were in a house where you noticed that your mom and daddy didn't spend that much time with each other anymore. And you're like, okay, that looks like it's normal. Because you wasn't emotionally invested into why they wasn't doing that. But they had conflicting expectations. Things changed. And because they wasn't communicating or talking about it, they just agreed to disagree, and they stayed in the relationship for the kids. And then when those kids are gone, those conflicting expectations are now front and center. And because they've never dealt with them before, it causes them to feel like they're in a relationship for too long. What you got?
That happened to a lot of our parents' generation. And now, half the people ain't even married no more. But now, if you brush any problems in your marriage under the rug, it's going to, just like they said, was done in the dark, going to come to the light. Eventually, you have to face it and understand why this happened. Like you said, when parents become empty nesters and they realize that their relationship was driven by their children, they like, oh my gosh, half of them make it and half of them doesn't. Half of them say, wow, we could get back to doing us. We done raise some beautiful kids. We could start dating again. And half of them realize they don't even like each other. And they go their separate ways. And they made plenty of movies about this. Mom and dad is getting a divorce and the kids shocked because they don't know. Because while they was there, mom and dad was nurturing them to be the best that they could be and not spending that quality time with each other. So it is a big lack of communication within their marriage, but the focus shifted to the children. Yeah. So you have to, in a marriage, you have to come back to, okay, let's go back to step one. How we fell in love, how we dated, and get back to us. Because if you don't, in the communication of, well, we're going to agree, like you said, to disagree. That impiled up 50 times. It's like you could go and say, okay, I got this. On April the 10th, we said we was going to agree to disagree. We haven't resolved that situation. We didn't talk about it, but now it's coming back around again. Let's put everything on the table and hatch it out. We don't have no interruptions. We don't have no kids around to give us any, problems. So let's talk about it. At that point, it's a little too late.
Yeah. Now, there's a couple of things they talk on here, that signals more like a relationship that's going toward divorce, and or having some issues like depression, mentioned divorce, feeling controlled, feeling neglect. But there's one on here that I was looking at. Feeling neglect was one, but this is the one that I was looking at. It says, sex stopped completely. And that's something I noticed that a lot in long-term relationships. That was that song that I think Earth, Wind & Fire used to sing, After the Love Is Gone. And it's like relationships that are, extend for a long time, that sexual desires sometimes go away. Now, and in some cases, because you got kids in the house and you don't get a chance to have sexual relationships with each other that much. But that changes because the kids move, and you need to try to keep that spice together. So sometimes a couple will have, 2 kids and stuff like that. They're growing up and they don't feel that they have the time, or they don't feel comfortable having sex in their bedroom when their kids are there. Now there's some of them that feel that way. Some of them don't care. You know, just turn the music up. I don't know. But that can be a that can catapult into not having. But if you're just you and your husband or your spouse, I should say, and your sex has completely stopped, it does. That is something that happens in relationships that continue or extend for maybe a decade or two because that desire to do that on one partner or the other has gone. Now, we're not going to talk about it. Could be an affair and stuff like that because we don't want to get into all of that. We're not saying that there's something wrong with the marriage or there's a problem like depression or controlling or, infidelity. We're just saying a normal relationship that, you still love each other, you care for each other, but it's been so long and you've forgotten to appreciate being with each other. You want to add something onto that one?
It could be so many reasons with that, but it is saying no matter what the reason is, if it's uncontrollable that you can, like if someone's ill and you can, but when it get to that point in the relationship and you hear someone say, "Oh, girl, I ain't touched my husband in about 5 years." Excuse me, and you're healthy and they're healthy, it's something going on that they need to work on with that. And unfortunately, it happens a lot in relationships.
Yeah, I mean, of course, there could be a lot of reasons, but the thing about it is that the sex has stopped completely is the end of any reasons, and you've got to find out what those reasons are so you can bring it back in. And it talks about here, intimacy. There's certain intimacy is gone. You're missing your intimacy, and also says that the last one I'm going to bring up, the absence of a loving behavior. And this is not a bad thing because I'm going to just use me and Brenda as an example. I love Brenda, but if I'm not showing her a loving behavior, I'm not caring for her or doing things for her or paying attention to her or, she needs something and I'm there and I'm not showing anything. She's more like a roommate than a wife, or it's more like she lives in an apartment and we don't live in a home. If I don't show that loving behavior to her, so that, her earpiece got messed up. I ordered a new earpiece for her. She didn't have to ask me to do that. I did that. And that's a sign of a loving behavior, caring for that individual, doing things for that. But if I just sat there and I didn't do anything, my earpiece is messed up and I don't do anything. Or, my tires is having a problem in the car and I do nothing. Something's wrong with this. And I'm at the house and every time there's something she needs me to show even just to hug her. How you doing, baby?
Yes, that gets me every time.
Those kind of loving behaviors, in a long distance or long-term relationship when someone's been married for 10, 20, and like us going on 30 years, those small little loving behaviors dwindles sometimes because you've gotten so used to being with each other. She know I love her. You ever heard that before? Oh yeah, he know I love him. Does he? She know I love her. Does she? What are you doing? I mean, I can make Brenda laugh, and that's a loving behavior. That's nothing. She can, just, smile. I mean, I will tell you something that's the craziest thing, and I don't even want to bring this up because I hate it because she'll like, okay, great, we can take more pictures. But when I sit there and we take pictures with each other and I'm close to her, it's like a loving behavior. I just get excited because I'm next to her taking that picture. She's looking beautiful. She's not in that house coat. I've told you about a house coat before, but she's looking beautiful. And just being there next to her provides a loving behavior that she's really not doing anything, but because she's there with me, devoted to me, that shows a loving behavior that I really enjoy, that I'm standing next to her. And so those are certain things that when a relationship gets to longevity, people are still shocked that I opened the door for Brenda, car
We
door.
still hold hands.
We still hold hands. When she goes to a door, I open the door.
And actually, it's not shock. I think people just see this is so unseen right now
Yeah.
that they look at it and go, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And it's so beautiful that I love catching someone's face doing that with
Yeah,
us.
even at the church, when Brenda sits up in her seat, before she sits down, I make sure the seat is down. And I'll make sure her seat is down until she sits down, and then I'll sit down. And it's just those kind of loving behavior things, and people look like, huh, my husband don't do it. And I'm not trying to do that for that. This is just me doing loving
In our
behavior things
marriage.
for her. And so I think sometimes what happens in a relationship when you've been there too long, you stop those loving behavior things, those sweet little niceties
Right.
to each other.
And it is those sweet little niceties. Like with Rick every morning, I know he probably like, here she come. I gotta get my hug from my husband every morning, or I kiss him like he a baby. I know I feel like I'm that auntie slobbing all over my baby face and everything, but I love doing that because I thank God that he's awake and he's well. And I ask, how did you sleep? That's me showing you might want something different, but that's me showing my attributions of love, just seeing them and stuff. Cause like today I was telling Ray, I just love hugging you. I just love that. Not because I don't have nobody else to hug. I don't want to hug nobody else besides giving my mom, brother, and sister a hug or something. But it's a different feeling that you have with a spouse.
Lord, don't let her get around her theater people. She hugging everybody.
I love my theater
She got around Harry Lennox and just hugged up on him so
I was
much.
just up under him.
I'm like,
But see, we so secure with that. You know it ain't nothing with that. It's like, this is Harry. Oh my God. So I love that. But
well, I mean, there's a lot of people that like hugging her. They're men and female. And I'm glad that they're hugging her. But we're not going to go on that one. So we got to change subject. But I'm just saying, it's nothing wrong. I mean, we love the fact that you're in a long-term relationship. That's how it should be. But don't forget what it was that brought you to that relationship. Do the things that you remember to love someone and let them know that they're loved every day, because that's when if you're not like that, you won't feel like you've been in a relationship too long. I'm like, me and Brenda are going over 30 years. I don't feel like I've been in a relationship too long. I feel like I'm in a relationship. That's it. And so remember to do that. Hey, we got a couple of things we're going to share here real quick. I don't know how you're going to do it. We got the Club 50, Ife Designs, relationship letter, and the plays all in about 15 minutes.
okay, we're just gonna go on through here. Club 50. If you missed last week, you missed a good one with Breon Arzell, choreographer and actor in Chicagoland. You can check it out at theclub50.com, along with many other great interviews that Club 50 had the pleasure of sitting down and talking to some wonderful people. So again, you can check that out at theclub50.com. It's prom season. I love you guys. Ife Design is rolling out some prom season stuff, such as banners, invitation, t-shirts, prom squad, whatever you need. I'm your girl. We could get that done for you because it is officially being kicked off with a lot of schools this week, I noticed. So again, if you need something done, you have my number. Call me or text me. On Facebook, you could DM me, direct message me. And if you got my email address, ifedesigns@gmail.com, email me because it is going on. And we're trying to keep some elegance, ladies and guys, this year with the prom season. I want to read the letter first before we do to the plays because we have some good plays.
All right.
Dear LSTT, my husband's ex-wife is on hard times and is waiting for her next move. In the meantime, she needs a place to stay with their children, and my mother-in-law offered that she could stay with her. According to my husband, she never wanted to be around his family when they were married, and now you want to temporarily stay with his mother? My husband is against his mom's decision, and so am I. It's not like her mother is deceased. She lives in the same city, and they get along with one another. LSTT, am I wrong to think that she is up to something? Sincerely, what kind of foolishness is going on?
Okay, I missed something here.
What you miss?
Beginning of this letter again is saying what?
The beginning of the letter is saying, my husband, ex-wife.
Oh, that's what I missed. Ex-wife. The ex-wife wants,
She fell on hard times.
so
need a
she's going to be
place
living
stay.
with his mother.
But her mama alive, and they good friends, and she ain't trying to stay with her own mother. She want to stay with my husband's mother.
So the what was the name of the person again?
What kind of foolishness is going on?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's really interesting. She wants to know what kind of foolishness is going on. It seems like somebody's trying to get back in good grace. Now, here's one thing that I have an issue with. Mama, why you letting her stay there?
Yeah. Why, mama?
So that's one thing. Mama, you know that was the ex and he's married to somebody else. Why are you allowing her to stay there when she has other options to do? And you know, Mama, let's just be right honest. You doing that because you like her more than you do the wife.
And she got your grandkids.
Yep. And so you gonna make the decision. Well, I'm just doing it for the kid. No, you're not. If if you really want to do something for them, give them some money so they can have an apartment they can stay at,
Sure
or talk to her about working together so she can stay with her own mama. That's an issue within itself because now you're causing mama a problem with your husband's wife now because she's going to feel like she's slighted. And if she didn't have a relationship with you before, it's really going to be this in a problem. And if she did, it's going to cause a conflict. Now, with the husband in itself, I mean, this is wrong in all levels. The woman stand over there is trying to get back into good graces.
When you wasn't even bothered with your ex-mother-in-law, when you was married to her son.
Right. And so now it's good graces that she's trying to get in. But I have more problem with the mother allowing it to happen than her trying to do that. Because mama could have squashed that and we wouldn't have no issues at all. So the foolishness that's going on to me is mama allowing it to happen. Because you can ask a question. You can ask if you can stay here. But the answer is going to be no. And that's what mama should have done right there. So there is some foolishness going on because she's trying to get back in good graces. And hopefully that this can cause a wedge between the husband and the current wife, which is you, by the way. But I would say the foolishness that I don't like is what mama doing. Mama, you know better. Don't do that.
You know better. So what kind of foolishness is going on? I hope you heard this answer because maybe
What about your answer?
Okay, my answer is maybe you do need to talk to your mother-in-law because she's wrong on all, of course. But of course, I can see her if she's saved and a Christian. Well, these are my grandkids and they need a place to stay. But you are dividing a household. Even though a lot of people would say, well, her husband didn't have anything to do with it. But your wife is going through the frustration of knowing, why is your ex-wife staying with my mother-in-law when her mother is alive? It's crazy. You guys need to talk about it and communicate, because if you early in your marriage and this is a sign of what's going on, it's going to continue to go on.
That old saying, leave well enough alone. Mama, leave it alone. Get out of that.
Please, just get out of there. And that is the views and the comments of Let's Stay Together Talk. We thank you for writing in. What kind of foolishness is going on?
And if you'd like to leave a letter as well, you can go to Let's Stay Together Talk Show at gmail.com. That's Let's Stay Together Talk at gmail.com.
Now let's talk about these plays here. We have seen a lot of plays. Okay. What? We have seen a lot of plays, as you might know. We are theater critics with Let's Play Theatrical Review. We see plays in Chicago, New York, Indiana, Wisconsin. And when we say, in the favorite words of Rick, we see a plethora of plays. We see a plethora of plays. And I'm going to just take it backwards with the one we just seen for Sunday instead of yesterday. We would say Broadway Playhouse. This is a 4-star play and it's Congo Square 25th year anniversary. The name of the solo play was How I Learned What I Learned by August Wilson. Featured Harry Lennox, and it will be playing just only for a few more days until May 5th.
Is that May 5th they're gonna be? It's got it's a limited edition. They're gonna do it. The one of the things that I really want to say is that for people, especially African American people, if you don't know who August Wilson is, you need to know it is a phenomenal playwright who changed the perspective of black playwrights in America. Phenomenal play. He has a Pittsburgh cycle of 10 plays that he has out there that are just circling around continuously. Brilliant play. But this one, How I Learned What I've Learned, is not a part of that cycle. This is a self declaration about his life and how he became a playwright. First a prophet. It talks about his young life and this the trials and tribulations he went through as a young man, and how the Pittsburgh location, Hill District, really helped to define the man that he was. He was a high school dropout, and this man becomes one of America's top playwrights in American history. And so it gives you a good detail on it. And Harry Lennox is just phenomenal in the play. He will be there for a short time, so make sure you get a chance to see this. It is phenomenal how he breaks it down and the things that he talks about. Talks about racism, and things of that nature. But it's so well done. You will definitely enjoy it. We're highly recommending that you do that. But you need to do some history. And I think the young man named Ken Martin, who's director, was saying that if you've never seen a August Wilson play, How I Learned What I Learned would be a good play to start with, because it gives you an idea to see who August Wilson was, and also how he became who he was, and then you'll get a chance to see the plays. Now, Goodman has a play that's coming out for that as well. So that's Joe Turner play that's coming up. But you definitely want to go see this play. What else you got?
Next up, it's another four-star play at Northlight Theater, Brooklyn Laundry. It would be there until May 12th. This was a good one, too. I was pleasantly surprised by this because I didn't expect it to be that good and emotional.
Yeah, it was very emotional play about a man who meets this young lady. Both of them has been in a relationship with, that failed, and they kind of meet each other at a laundry store. He's a laundry store owner. He has some sufferings, things that he suffers with back problems and things of that nature, and they have kind of like a strange little connection with each other, and then they get together with each other and try to start a relationship with each other again. But situations happen with the young lady where her sisters are dealing with some illness, and she has to take on a lot of responsibilities, and how that changes the perspective of this relationship, and how it ultimately changes her life because she's been thrust with all of this responsibility and that she wasn't looking for. She just wanted to be single, and now she has all these burdens on her, and yet she still wants to keep this relationship. And then the man has said, I wanted to be with her, but now all these things are thrust upon her. Is it worth me wanting to be with her? So Brooklyn Laundry happens to be about relationships and how you deal with circumstances that's beyond your control, and will it allow you to be able to continue to love or lose love?
Yeah. And another way you can look at that too, God have put someone in her life right at the time of turmoil and loss and stress that's coming into her life, that she could not go through this alone, because it's emotional, people. I don't even want to tell it. It's very emotional, like a roller coaster, but it's a very good play at Northlight Theater. But we're going to take you now to Drury Lane. And Drury Lane had Guys and Dolls playing there until June 9th. That was a 3-star play. That was entertaining. And at one point they said it was the biggest Broadway play out there, but it was cute.
It was a good play. I mean, they did a good job with it. I've seen more enthusiasm and energy from other productions that I've seen before. Like a lot of times what I'll do if I haven't seen a play, you can go on television and look at plays that they've done before, and I've seen more enthusiasm. They did a You're Rocking the Boat performance, and it was good. I mean, I'm not trying to knock it. It's definitely something you can go see if you like Guys and Dolls. Wonderful play to go out to Drury Lane. Drury Lane has some great plays. But I think that it lacked a little energy in some places where it needed to be more energetic and upbeat. I mean, really getting the crowd into it. Sit down, you're rocking the boat. That thing, if you hit that right, I mean, you'll have the audience, looking for encores. And it just didn't hit it just right. And so it definitely 3 stars, though.
Okay, this is a 4-star play. Marriott Theater. They had what was that?
We
The
got
Music
real
Man.
quick. We got to throw this in here.
Okay, The Music Man, April 10th through June 2nd. Excellent play.
Yeah, Marriott always does some great plays. If you ever want to go, if you're out in Lincolnshire, want to go see a great play, go to Lincolnshire. Go to Marriott. Music Man is excellent.
Okay, another 4-star play, Shattered Globe Theater. They had their production at Wit Theater. Play was called Jump. I'm saying it's a 4-star play. I'm assuming you want a 4-star play. But anyway, that would be there until June 1st.
Yeah, it's a good play. I mean, that one surprised me. Young lady, I can't remember the name of the director. I haven't really written
Amber Montgomery.
Yeah, that one surprised me. It is really emotional. Jump. It's about a relationship where a young lady is trying to get together a house because they're about to sell the house. The father wants to sell the house because the mother's not living anymore, and there's a relationship that she has with her sister and a friend that she meets on the bridge, and the outcome of this. And I'm not going to spoil it for you right now. But the outcome of it really just throws you because you're not expecting, what happens. But the key thing is it's a bridge, and the name of the thing is Jump. But it's it's gonna surprise you about what happens on the play, and it was a surprising play. I really did enjoy it. I was thinking 3-4 stars. It's probably gonna be 4 because it was really. It's like 90 minutes. But it starts off a little slow, but man, when it kicks in, it kicks in. It's like taking a shot. You don't feel it yet, and then also, ooh, it really hits you with the ending, and it's amazing. Young lady's doing an excellent job. I'm looking forward to seeing more that she does.
Okay, and that's all of our plays from Let's Play Theatrical Review.
All right, so we've got about a minute or so. We're gonna get out of here. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll probably see you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m. Please let somebody else know. I mean, this is a ministry that we do here. We're not doing it to get millions of people to listen. It's a ministry, and so we want to be able to share this ministry with other people. If you know somebody else who would like to be a part of sharing the ministry and getting on there and sharing their thoughts and stuff like that, let them know. We would love to have you, and we will see you guys next Tuesday at 7 p.m.
Bye-bye.
Ken? Okay. Kenny going to sleep on me. All right. For those on Facebook, YouTube, thank you all very much. We got to get out of here. I'm going to run to do something real quick, but we'll see you all next Tuesday at 7 p.m. And pray for me with this no judgment that I'm going to be bringing up on the Sword Radio 2 so we can share that. But we'll see you next week. Goodbye.